Alright, so short video update today after not posting much recently. And the reason why is most of what I've been doing at the moment is not anything exciting enough for video update. So, I've got the donut bike, verified that it runs. I've got all the electrical working now. The main part I care about is the electric start. The rest don't really need. The charging system doesn't work. I don't care. I've got other race bikes with no charging system, so that's nothing new for me. What I've been doing is research. In order for this bike to do what I need it to do, I need to keep the weight as light as possible. I'm starting with something that out of the crate, 220 pounds-ish, and I don't want to increase that weight when I can avoid it. So that means I need to find the lightest parts I can for each aspect of it. Now I'm also at the point where the next steps involve big purchases. I need to put 17-inch wheels on it, and I need to change this front end out with a sport bike front end. Before I spend money, I need to make sure that I'm spending it correctly so that I don't go through 3 or 4 iterations really cranking my costs up and just wasting money where I don't need to. So, like I said, most of what I've been doing is running around, surfing the web, a lot of reading. I've been talking with multiple different companies about what the specs are on their products, what they still have on the market and what they don't. Again, the end game is to avoid spending money where I don't need to. Front end is pretty much decided. I'm going to be going with a modern Yamaha R6 front end because there's lots of them out there. They're a known quantity. I just need to find the right deal. On the wheels, I've got options. So as I said, the goal is to avoid adding weight where possible. You get the stock wheel. This is a little heavier than normal because it's got a moose in it instead of a tube, but close enough for our purposes. Yeah, felt like a loose spoke. So, that's actually heavier than I was expecting. 27.2 pounds for the stock wheel. This is your bog standard Supermoto wheel. Aluminum hub. In this case it's billet. Sometimes your other path is you build them on the stock hubs. 4 1/4 inch wide rim. Not quite what I want to run. I prefer a 5-inch, but see what this weighs in comparison. 28.2. So if I go that path, actually not adding that much weight. Good to know. Another option is find a sport bike tire. A lot of people have done this for their street supermotos. Requires machining to make work. It can be done. Others have done it. So we've got the wheel with a sprocket and sprocket carrier, 30.6. Actually, just for giggles, what we're going to do is we're going to weigh just a bare rim assembly. So we got some ideas for comparing weights a little bit more apples to apples with what's advertised. Behold shaky cam footage. So to give you an idea, that wheel by itself, no rotors, sprockets, spacers, it's only 11.8 pounds. So that's what I got to compare against. If I'm going to spend the money on the wheel, it needs to be significantly lighter than 12 pounds to be worth the extra expense. Okay, I said I wasn't going to bore you with the details, but what the heck. Here's an example of the research I've been doing, trying to track down different wheel options for KTM Supermoto and what the weights are so that I can compare whether or not buying just the cheap Supermoto wheels and rolling with it versus spending more and tracking down some of these exotic options that are no longer on the market is worth the effort. So, real short summary, what's on the market appears to be weighing about 5.25 kilograms. And I'm dealing things in metric because that's what the manufacturers, who are mostly overseas, publish their numbers in. So 5.5 kilograms seems to be about the standard for spoke Supermoto wheel, and I'm basing that on what we determined my rad wheel setup weighs. To give you an idea, compared to the KTM wheel, we determined that's 12.4 kilograms, 27 pounds, fully set up with a moose tube. So when you compare the full wheel and Supermoto wheel at 12.8 kilograms, tire, sprockets, rotor, everything, versus 5.2, that's saying 7.5 kilograms, 17 pounds of that assembly is just the tire, tube, rim strip, rotor, sprocket. So whatever I get, I'm going to put 16 to 17 pounds on top of when I put a tire, rotor, and sprocket onto it, which is good to know. About a pound of that is the tube and rim strip, which doesn't sound like much to lose, but being at the circumference of the tire, it's got a much higher impact on moment of inertia, and that's the name of the game. Lowest moment of inertia possible, and also lowest total bike weight possible. So, looking at my options out there, going with spoked, the current lightest of the lightest is the Alpina at 5 kilograms. Not that big a weight savings, so the cost is going to need to be close to what I can get a traditional spoke for in order for me to chase that. The upside to that wheel, no tubes. It is a tubeless setup, but still spoked. From what I understand, they're much lower maintenance than I'm used to with my lower cost spoke wheels. That'd be nice. Marchesini makes a forged aluminum mag wheel. Looks like a sport bike wheel. It's actually a touch heavier than my spoke setup, but the weight distribution, moment of inertia on that Marchesini should still be lower, but it's a significant cost increase to go with that wheel. Similarly, Warp 9 makes forged aluminum mags. Their weights are noticeably higher, and I don't know as the gain in weight distribution on those wheels makes up for the loss in total weight over a traditional sport bike or a traditional Supermoto spoked wheel. Got to do some more research. Cost on them, fairly reasonable, but still more than a traditional spoked wheel. The other gain is I can get a cush drive. If we go out into the weeds and track down a BST full carbon wheel, which has not been on the market for a few years, I can't find any in any of the distributors around the world and hiding in a back shelf. The manufacturer says they don't have any more and are not going to produce any more. But that gets the weight down to 3.2 kilograms versus 5.2. So solid 4 to 5 pound savings. If I can find one, even if the cost is double a traditional sumo wheel, that is a huge savings. But the question is, can I find one? And this is the boring work that's been going on in the background while everyone's waiting for updates on the bike. Similarly, when I said I'm putting an R6 fork on it, well, actually, I've got a little bit more detail on that. I'm looking for a specific year range to get specific details. There's been a lot of R6s put out over the years, and there are changes despite them basically looking from the outside like the only change between 2006 and 2015 was both new graphics. So yeah, before I spend big bucks, I want to make sure that I'm spending them properly. When I make a decision and start making some purchases, that's when you'll start seeing big changes happen with the bike. So in the meantime, congratulations, you've gotten a chance to play Spreadsheet Warrior with me. And yeah, the bike is still a mess. I plan to clean it soon. That will be a separate video, but weather has not cooperated. So for now, those of you wondering why nothing's happened that's been posted, that's why. I'm doing research.